You're watching a show that puts mid-Michigan news in focus. This is Focal Point.
Tonight on Focal Point, I'll tell you why new legislation at the Capitol could affect one Lansing area high school.
Coming up, a new law that bans young drivers from using their phone while behind the wheel. We'll show you how it makes for a safer commute.
And later, we'll tell you about a campus campaign that's receiving national recognition.
This is Focal Point. I'm Molly Cassidy.
And I'm Ellie Grandia. Welcome to Focal Point. The Educational Achievement Authority has taken center stage across the state of Michigan. The bill, which narrowly passed the House of Representatives recently, could soon be expanded from Detroit public schools to any school that fails to meet specific requirements. And that hits home for Lansing School District. Focal Point's Jack Crawley has that story.
Discussion. As the school year winds down, a battle is heating up in Lansing.
We know that the stakes are high. We take it very seriously.
The Educational Achievement Authority, or EAA, extends control of schools from the Capitol into the classroom, and it may soon have reach across the entire state. But there are limitations.
The EAA is restricted to the bottom 5% failing schools, and it is even further restricted by the 50 school cap.
Should a school fall into that category, a state committee will create a new curriculum and hire new faculty. One of the schools that may be taken over, Lansing's own Eastern High School. But Lansing School District Superintendent Yvonne Kamal-Cano would sooner see kids go to a different area school than fall under the EAA's control.
Should that doomsday happen where they would be identified to go to the EAA, I would encourage all the parents at Eastern to choose Sexton or Everett.
The program began in September as a rescue attempt for 15 struggling Detroit schools. With less than one academic year completed under the current program, Kamal-Cano is frustrated that it may affect her district.
Clearly, with not enough evidence that would lead one to believe that this reform effort would actually do anything to improve the schools that they're expanding into.
But supporters view things a little differently.
Student attendance and parental involvement have skyrocketed under the EAA. Additionally, student growth assessment data shows 20% of the students in the EAA have already achieved 1 year's growth since August in math and reading.
Also of concern for Kamal-Cano,
EAA doesn't provide art, music, PE, band, drama, sports, any extracurricular activities.
Despite a changing achievement standard through the years, Lansing superintendent says that Eastern has made and is making strides toward getting itself off of the designated failing schools list.
We've replaced the principal a couple of times, and we've lengthened the school day, and we've implemented intervention programs.
The new bill does allow schools to get themselves off of the list through high academic performance. But should it take effect, it immediately changes the standards that Eastern has been striving to reach. But in the legislature's eyes,
our kids cannot wait.
The full results of the EAA in Detroit will not be known until the academic year comes to a close. And as the expansion bill moves through the state legislature, educators will be keeping a close eye on the Capitol. For Focal Point, I'm Jack Crawley.
And we may see further developments regarding the EAA as soon as next week when the Senate meets for its scheduled legislative sessions.
Affirmative action, always a hot-button issue, especially when it comes to higher education. The U.S. Supreme Court recently decided that it will put Michigan's treatment of the law under the microscope in its next term. Affirmative action, in part, allows a person's status as a minority to be a deciding factor in employment and public education admissions. A 2006 ballot proposal in Michigan, which passed with about 58% support, disallowed this decision-making process, but was later struck down and deemed unconstitutional by an appeals court. Now the Supreme Court will give the proposal formerly known as the Michigan Civil Rights Amendment another chance at becoming law. Michigan's case will not be decided until the fall. However, the court will decide on a Texas affirmative action this spring. Our on-the-go lifestyles make multitasking the norm. But driving is a task that requires all your attention. Now, a new law is hoping to curb some of the distractions for young drivers.
And then go and turn right here.
It's a huge distraction and a huge problem, and I think we've all seen that.
Lieutenant Rigglesworth of the East Lansing Police Department
says it's hard not to notice it.
Somebody calls you, you may not even answer it, but that one glance down to see who's calling you, maybe just enough that something happens in front of you.
But thanks to Kelsey's Law, Michigan drivers with level 1 and level 2 permits, usually teenagers, are now banned from using their phones while driving.
As for licensed drivers, texting is still illegal, and things like watching videos on your phone can still get you a careless driving ticket.
How many hours of driving you got so far?
Level 1 permit driver Maria Repachowski is on track to get her license, but she isn't worried about phone-related accidents.
I think that once I actually get my license, that I'll probably be really nervous, like the first couple months, so I don't think anything will happen.
Turn right here.
Spartan Driving School instructor Ross Baldwin looks forward to teaching all of his students about Kelsey's Law.
I am a full-time world history and U.S. history teacher at Lansing Catholic High School, and I also am the owner of Spartan Driving School.
Watch out for this guy.
The amount of brain power that is used by talking the cell phone is 40%. Your mind is off the objective of driving.
I think that Kelsey's Law will actually help a lot of people.
18-year-old Michigander Gabby Yurik has had her license almost 3 years and admits to texting and driving.
My mindset is to try to get the best text without as many errors across as I can in the least amount of time possible so I can get back to my eyes being on the road.
Yurik uses a Bluetooth for calls, but questions the effects this law will really have and just how police will enforce it.
I don't know how much it's going to stop kids that age from texting and driving if it's just like a slap on the hand.
The cops are going to have to make an educated guess how old the driver is. Without being able to do that, this law is unenforceable.
The ELPD says it will depend on the officer and the situation as to the consequences.
The campaign for Kelsey's Law started in 2010 after 17-year-old Kelsey Raphael was killed in a car crash while on her phone.
And in Detroit, Governor Snyder recently appointed emergency manager Kevin Orr to oversee the city's finances. Just this week, a group of protesters staged a sit-in at the city's Coleman A. Young Municipal Center near where Mayor Dave Bing and Orr's offices are. For just under an hour, nearly 3 dozen people gathered in the hallway to protest the appointment of a city manager, saying it was against their voting rights. Orr started his role of emergency city manager on March 25th and will make $275,000 a year. After the break, we'll tell you about a group of ducks making a nationwide splash.
Oh gosh, I'd love to see that story. And students celebrated Greek Week by putting on a big show, coming up in our on-campus report.
The day we created a cancer drug that saved millions of lives began like any other day. And when we developed a new way to purify the world's water supplies, it might have been a Tuesday or possibly a Thursday. And whether it's alternative energy or better food safety, the next time we help create a solution to one of the world's great problems, we'll be proud. Then we'll get back to work. Michigan State University. Spartans will.
Welcome back. The MSU Social Norms campaign has been around since 2006 and is beginning to receive more attention.
Plus, an MSU student is going on a bike ride for a good cause. Jack Crawley has those stories and more in our on-campus report.
Thanks, guys. You may have seen them on campus. Well, now they are getting national attention. The MSU Social Norms Duck campaign, or more often referred to as just the Ducks, is the latest PR plan in efforts to combat heavy alcohol use. Focal Point's Elliot Grandia has that story.
You may have seen them taking over MSU's campus. No, it's not the bikers, but the ducks.
Well, not these, but these. And they're making quite the splash.
These feathery friends have been flocking dorms, classrooms, and social media, trying to correct misconceptions of alcohol use and college sexual practices as a part of Rebecca Allen's efforts as director of MSU Social Norms.
Because as the theory goes, is once you correct those misperceptions, behaviors follow.
And it was a strategic choice in picking these fowl as the face of good decision making.
There's really nothing about the ducks that is disagreeable.
Over the years, the face of these quackers has evolved, and on the way built a web-footed fan base, like senior communication major Colin Texture, owner of every duck shirt.
I like the ducks design and the clever phrases they have.
And when a new duck debuts at one of the many duck events to promote alcohol and sexual awareness, Texture does anything he can to be a part.
A couple of times I've had other people go to them for me to grab me the shirts, actually.
From Share Your Quackers to Slam Duck, these ducks feed knowledge of alcohol and safe sex practices on campus with every shirt and poster, dispelling common misconceptions with statistics.
The message behind it is like trying to promote like social norms that are realistic instead of what every college student hears from other college students.
But there seems to be mixed feelings on how accurate the duck statistics really are.
I think on a college campus, that's probably not an accurate statistic.
Every time I see one of those posters where I reverse the statistics,
I think it's close just because no one wants to take care of their drunk friend.
Alan, however, stands by the poultry and suggests their method for gathering is completely trustworthy.
And all those surveys are stratified random sample. So basically anyone on this campus has an equal chance of being selected for the survey.
Regardless, this award-winning campaign has seen progress in safer sex practices and alcohol consumption at MSU since its launch.
So everything that we were predicting would happen has wonderfully happened.
And for Texter, whose duck journey will come to an end with graduation, he has an idea of how the campaign could fly even higher.
I mean, I guess it'd be cool if they had like a mascot, like an actual like physical suit, and like some guy walking around in a duck costume. I guess that'd be pretty cool.
Former MSU advertising student Susanna Dominguez was the original duck creator. MSU's Social Norms hopes to continue using the ducks as a way to cut through the clutter and deliver truth about alcohol at MSU. A new exhibit at the MSU Broad Museum opened on March 28th. The exhibit shows off a collection of 3D artifacts from Val Berryman, who died in January after serving nearly 50 years as an MSU museum curator. The museum received a $1.9 million gift, which is the largest in the museum's history. The exhibit features photos from its personal collection and an exploration of 3D images. Thousands packed the Breslin Center this week, but it wasn't for a basketball game or a concert. The MSU Greek community celebrated a year of Greek life with Greek Week, coming together for a 3-day event held at the venue. Glow sticks, sound makers, life-size Greek letters, and excited Greek members filled the seats on Wednesday for MTV night. 13 different groups of combined fraternities and sororities danced off for a campus-wide Greek community competition. The event promoted unity in the Greek community while also making efforts to raise money for the different charities the Greek community has chosen.
For Greek Week, and Greek Week promotes the Greek community. We always take a big charity for a foundation and raise as much money as we can for them.
I mean, it just brings us together, and it makes like a fun environment that we can all kind of get together and raise money together and do something that's so fun for something that's so great.
The winner of the MTV night this year was Alpha Phi. It's never too early to get involved with your community, and one Spartan has decided to give back across the nation. MSU sophomore Brian Wegner is raising about $4,500 to participate in Bike and Build's Pedaling for Affordable Housing program this summer. Biking from South Carolina to California in just over 100 days, along with the other 30 cyclists on his route, will stop to build 8 homes in 5 states with Habitat for Humanity. Raising money and training for the cross-country trip has become a part of his daily routine, and although he's never done anything like this, Wegner holds the cause close to home.
I'm from Saginaw myself, and here in East Lansing and in Saginaw there's like a big problem with homelessness. I mean, it's pretty evident if you drive down Michigan. So I just want to learn a little bit more about the affordable housing movement and what I can do to fix the problem.
For more information about Wegner's trip, visit www.bikeandbuild.org. Well, that's it for this week's On Campus Report. I'm Jack Crawley. Back to you at the desk.
Jack.
Thanks, Jack. Well, I mean, I'm used to biking to class, but I don't think I could bike to California.
Oh yeah, a 4-hour plane ride from California, that's long enough.
Yeah, but it sounds like a pretty cool charity.
Oh, definitely. As March Madness comes to a close, we wanted to find out how the age-old Michigan State rivalry factored into what team to root for on Saturday.
So in this week's Sidewalk Survey, we asked students whether they would want to see Michigan win the championship and have Trey Burke go to the NBA, or have Michigan lose the championship and have Burke stay another year.
I'd rather
rather Michigan win the championship and then have Trey Burke go to the NBA.
I want Michigan to win since Spartans are out now.
I'd rather them lose and Trey Burke stay another year.
Yeah, I'll see them lose.
Michigan win and Trey Burke go to the NBA.
I would agree with that too.
For sure.
I'd rather have Michigan lose myself.
I think it'd be better for him to go to the NBA, but I'd rather him stay for another year and help Michigan win again. Well, win another year.
Yeah, you never want to cheer for Michigan winning.
I'd rather have him lose, just because they're Michigan.
I feel like it'll make it easier for us next year to win Big Ten if Trey Burke, because we really don't gain anything if Michigan loses or wins. I mean, they get bragging rights, but we've won the title before they won.
If he wants to go to the NBA, let him. I mean, he's good enough, so might as well have somebody good up there.
Honestly, I don't like Trey Burke that much.
Personally, I think he'll go to the NBA either way, but you can't cheer for Michigan to win, no matter the situation. Even if it means he comes back, Trey Burke comes back, then still rather see Michigan lose.
Coming up, the Spartans lose a tough one in the Sweet 16.
Yes, but spring football is here, and we'll tell you about that after the break.
They've been called leaders, lifesavers, and world changers. They're also called Spartans.
Hi, I'm Cortni Moore, and I have this week's sports. Well, March Madness has unfortunately come to a close for MSU men's basketball, but not without another trip to the Sweet 16. Only hours before the team's bus was set to leave for Indy, a send-off party was announced. Families, friends, and students gathered to say goodbye and were thanked by the team for their support. The number 9 Spartans fell to number 6 Duke 71-61 in the Sweet 16 this past week. They rounded out the season with 27 wins and 9 losses. Senior Derek Nix will look to continue his career at the next level. Other NBA talk has surrounded freshman guard Gary Harris and junior Adrian Payne. Either way, Spartan fans aren't going anywhere.
Oh, it means a lot. I think it's good for recruiting, and our son and my wife and I and our daughter-in-law graduated from Michigan State, so we're strong supporters of the basketball and football team, and got to shake hands with all the players, and Coach Izzo talked to us, so that was nice.
Coach Izzo discussed the loss to Duke by saying the team really never got on track. The team got into foul trouble early, and Duke's defense proved too tough for the Spartans.
And they're a good team. They're a good team. They played well. Curry hurt us, no question about it, and that's why he's a great player. But we didn't quit. We hung in there. I thought we played poorly for us, but I'm sure Duke had a lot to do with that. And as I said, the better team won. So we'll just lick our wounds and live for another day.
The MSU women's basketball team also fell short of a victory recently in the NCAA tournament after a win against Marist in the first round. The Spartan women, ranked 5th in the tournament, lost to the 4th seed Maryland Terrapins 74-49. Sophomore Becca Mills and junior Annalise Pickrell led the Spartans in scoring with 12 points, but just couldn't find the strength to pull a victory.
Did not play the way we've been playing up until this point, and really just feel bad for our group, our seniors. It's not an easy way to lose, and we just didn't play the way we had been playing, and that was disappointing, but give Maryland a lot of credit.
Now that basketball season is over, there's no better time to talk about football. With the spring game coming up, talk has centered on the quarterbacks and how Coach D'Antonio is getting them ready for next fall.
Our quarterbacks need to continue to make plays. I think they have to create, so we keep trying to put them in situations where they've got to take a bad play and make it a good one. We're trying to orchestrate those type of situations, then also timing and things of that nature. But I think our quarterbacks are doing fine. It's just playing against a good defense. You got to make big plays, and explosive plays are a little bit on everybody. So we got to try and find a way to make those on a consistent basis.
In my talks with Coach Warner, he made it very manageable to me. He said, we don't need you to be Michael Vick. We don't need you to run for 30 yards of play. What we need you to do is when things don't go well, when things break down, you need to go north and get us 5 or 6 yards. And when you look at it from that perspective, that's a very manageable task. That's a very manageable thing to do.
The spring game is April 20th and will feature a youth clinic in the morning. Game tickets and parking is free, although although a limited number of press box seats are available for $50. Kickoff is at 2:30 and will air on the Big Ten Network. Nike came to Michigan State to recognize the school's efforts in its March Madness Fuel Point competition. Reporter Chris Ryan takes us to the Breslin Center where the action took place.
Not really know what to expect or not.
We walk in, I'm like, whoa.
What did these students get into?
Running, jumping, quickness, strength, anything like that. I'm looking to compete in, come in #1.
Exercise for a prize.
Free Nike stuff, come out to have fun at the court.
Seems easy, right?
I just want to come out, get some free prizes, show off my skills a little bit.
Or maybe not.
I didn't realize the workout was going to be this intense.
I was a lot more tired, out of shape than I thought I would.
I know we were both like dying.
I'm really tired afterwards. I wasn't expecting that.
But the possibility of free Nike apparel, ease the suffering.
I like some basketball shorts. Yeah, maybe a contract with Nike.
I actually like to win some free runs. That'd be nice.
Nike is giving students the chance to be active and gain points for their school in their Nike March Madness competition. These points, or Nike Fuel, are gained through the activity that you do while using any of Nike Plus's devices. Michigan State is currently 3rd place in Nike's competition, so Nike sent out a couple of trainers to duke it out with the students. The same night, Michigan State played Duke in the Sweet 16. After the pain and gain, students stuck around to watch the big game on the big screen. The game may not have gone as hoped, but Nike made sure that each Michigan State student did not leave empty-handed. For Focal Point, I'm Chris Ryan.
That exercising sure looked intense. I'm not sure how long I would have lasted. The MSU men's baseball team is off to a 17-8 start. They won their home opener against Central Michigan earlier this week, 4-2. And this past Wednesday, the Spartans took on the Eagles from Eastern Michigan in a home game, which featured a 7-run 8th inning. The Spartans won by a score of 9-3. They were set to play host to Michigan this past Friday night, with football coach Mark D'Antonio throwing out the first pitch. And next week, the Spartans will take on the Lansing Lugnuts in the annual Crosstown Showdown. Game time is 7:05 on April 11th. Tickets are $10 and can be purchased at LansingLugnuts.com. The MSU's women's tennis team took on 38th-ranked Indiana last weekend. The team tried to stay competitive as they faced an Indiana team that beat a #2 Duke squad just a few weeks ago. Indiana won 7-0, a rout that continued their rise up the NCAA standings to #32 in the nation. The Spartans are now 0-4 in conference play. However, they remain over 500 for the season at 10-9 overall.
We started off really strong in non-conference play, but right now we've been struggling a bit with conference matches. But overall, I think we're getting better. We're getting there. So.
The Spartans go on to host Northwestern in Illinois this weekend. The Michigan State softball team faced off against Indiana in its first conference game of the season. The Spartans took an early 3-0 lead and never looked back. Pitcher Kelly Smith threw for her 5th shutout of the season, while the Spartans posted a couple more runs. Smith notched 7 strikeouts on the way to give her 132 in the season, which ranks 10th most in MSU history. Smith now owns a 12-7 record after the 5-0 victory.
I can only hope that, we gain some confidence today. I think we are a good team. I'm sure we'll have our ups and downs, but overall you'd like to think that it's another game that they can put in their, memory clips to pull back when they need it.
The Spartans ended up sweeping the series with Indiana to give them a 17-13 record on the season. The team goes to Purdue to take on the Boilermakers this weekend. That's what's happening in sports. I'm Cortni Moore.
Thanks, Courtney. Well, it sounds like there's really a lot going on in sports.
Yeah, I'm a little disappointed with our finish in March Madness, but I'm really looking forward to baseball season.
Oh, and they always have next year. Well, this weekend some local kids got out to enjoy the sun.
The sun and to enjoy the search for Easter eggs on the Capitol lawn. Hundreds of kids under 12 found more than 9,000 eggs during the Lansing JC's annual Easter egg hunt. Kids also played games and enjoyed crafts on the cool but sunny morning. Well, that's our show for tonight.
We leave you now with Sigma Delta Tau performing their dancer team for MTV during Greek Week.
Have a good night.
Good night.
Plug